Hi, folks. I'm Father Joe Grimaldi. You can call me Joe, and I'd like to welcome you to my podcast. But now, here's our host and friend, Ken Calvert.
Hi, everybody. I'm Ken Calvert alongside Father Joe Grimaldi. You come through the door, and you always surprise me. One of your several masses that you'll say today was at my high school institution, Brother Rice High School.
Yes.
You said Mass today.
At 10:30.
In front of how many kids?
Well, I have to guess that's maybe about 700 or 800.
Yeah, I would think so. Probably closer to 800 kids.
Sure.
At Brother Rice High School here in Birmingham, Michigan. I graduated in 1969. You were...
May I correct you? It's Bloomfield.
Yeah, that's right. It is. It's actually in Bloomfield Hills. I attended Brother Rice in 1969. I remember getting out of class to go to Mass. I didn't mean to rhyme, but I did. And we would walk over to St. Regis, and that's where the Mass was held today, yes?
So, yeah, they're still going over to Regis. It's right across the street.
Now, was it a coincidence that they selected the Feast of the Assumption of the Virgin Mary to say this Mass for the new year at Brother Rice High School?
Not necessarily a coincidence. It's just that they started school on Monday, the 13th. And so they like to open the school year with a Mass. And this would be a very good reason to have the Mass on the 15th.
Did you have fun?
Well, yes, you always do.
What did you talk about to the kids?
Well, actually,
Did you refresh them on who you were, your background?
No,
Why?
I leave it up to their imagination.
No. Did you tell them that, you were once principal at Brother Rice?
No, but one of the things I did was I didn't say that. I started off by, first of all, telling them that we're praying particularly for the school year. I tried to explain that the senior class has now not only privileges, but they also have responsibilities. And the responsibilities include that they will be the main leaders of the school, and so that whatever they do will be imitated by the underclassmen. I also explained in my own way that the freshman class coming in, they're very, everything is new, everything seems grandiose to them. They certainly are a little bit confused. They're not sure what's going to happen. And I tried to assure them that with time they would become confident enough to be their own people, and I'm sure it'll happen in a matter of days, not weeks or months or whatever the case might be.
Well, I have to tell you right now, in my case, I was terrified. It wasn't a matter of weeks. I was absolutely terrified for probably my first semester. It really took a full semester for me to get my feet underneath me in terms of getting to know my way around. I was terrified for the most part. Being on time, there was an awful lot to it. So
you covered it up pretty well, because I'd say most people remember you as being, how should I put it, ahead of the game and always confident and things of that sort. But I didn't want to leave out the rest of the school. When you think about the seniors and the those are the bookends, basically, the seniors and the freshmen. But you have the sophomores. The word sophomore, it comes from the Greek, wise fool. And basically, when people are sophomores, they act up a lot and things of this sort. But it's interesting to see the transition take place right after that sophomore year. They become more mature, and by the time they're seniors, obviously they're settled down. They're looking towards college and things of that sort. But in any case, so I also wanted to say this, too, that among the people who need a lot of prayers, I think, is the faculty, that they will persevere with their goals, that they will persevere with their positive attitudes, so that all of that will rub off on the kids themselves. And the administration. It takes not just the faculty, but the administration as well has to be able to project a positive feeling among the kids. So it's everybody. I tried to explain that the prayers were for all, as well as the, interestingly enough, when that time of the Mass comes and we remember our loved ones, we want to pray too for all of the family, friends, and relatives of the people present who have gone before us, but also of the alumni and the teachers who have preceded us in death.
Yeah.
And we pray that they may be enjoying the promise that was given to them and given to us. And this is such an appropriate day to make that mention because we celebrate the Assumption, Mary's entrance into heaven. I also made sure that they understood that sometimes people say, well, how did she get there? And what do you mean she's up there in body and soul? And how can that be? It's not a matter of discussing physics. It's a matter of beliefs. We believe that because she bore Jesus Christ, who is our salvation, basically, who is God, because she bore this Jesus Christ, she deserved a very special entrance into heaven. Whichever way it was, I wasn't there, we don't know. But she certainly reflects the importance of her son. And that's always the case. Whenever we celebrate the feast of Mary, the Mother of God, we're really also celebrating Jesus' feast. So basically, Jesus was the firstborn to die and go into heaven. The same privilege has been accorded to his mother, and that leaves the hope for you and me to enter into heaven as well.
So you put that into today's homily, crossing over to welcome back to some, welcome to your first experience in high school.
Correct.
I think that high school it can be for the most important years of your life. What would you say to that?
I would tend to agree with you. I think it's there where whatever ideas and hopes and dreams that people have, they begin to crystallize, if you want. They begin to take some shape. They begin to realize that very soon they're going to have to declare what they want to study seriously in college. And the reason I speak that way is since almost everybody who graduates from Brother Rice goes to a college, well, they begin to see maybe I'm going to want to be a doctor, so I'm going to concentrate on science. Maybe I want to do political analysis and so on. I'm going to concentrate on social studies. In other words, what I'm saying, things begin to crystallize while you're going through your high school years because you know that you're going to have to declare a certain intention before you leave.
I think your freshman year, you just want to survive. I will say that.
Yeah.
You just want to survive. And like I said, get your feet underneath you. Get to know the entire topography of the institution, all aspects of it.
Correct.
Sports, academics, interests, hobbies. And then, as you said, the sophomore year, you do sort of have some of that underneath you.
Yeah.
Sophomore year tends to be sort of the loosey-goosey year. Junior year, you take that in concert with your parents saying, hey, you're a junior, you better start thinking about the fact that you have some serious testing coming up. You better start thinking about your future. You better start thinking about your career and focusing on your life. You as a principal and as a teacher, you saw that entire, what's the word that I'm looking for?
The development of the individual.
The development and the evolution of the student.
Yes.
Do you treat each and every class differently in terms of freshman, sophomore, junior, senior? Do you go easier on the freshmen because of the fact that they're probably, the separation between grade school and high school can seem pretty darn big. You're taking on a little heavier load in high school than you were in grade school.
Correct. Well, I think what you're saying is that with the freshmen, you have to let them find their way. Sophomores maybe become a little bit more strict because they're starting to act up a little bit. By the time they're juniors and seniors, you want to encourage them as much as you can without being hard and fast, how shall I put it, disciplinarians. I mean, the discipline has to be there throughout the 4 years. I don't think that changes. There are rules and regulations for all students of the school. And so that there's ways of implementing whatever with Brother Rice, they used to have, I think they have it as well now, the jug system.
Oh,
okay?
yeah. Well, I believe detention is the operative word, yeah.
Yeah, so you have detention, and that means you either have to go to a study hall or you'll be given a work detail to do on Saturday.
I had
a
work assignment to do.
See,
yeah. I had so much detention, I almost got a uniform. I mean, I was there every Saturday.
Well, I understand from your wife that you're still doing it.
I think I'm the leader in the clubhouse. I don't think anybody's even come near my record. And you were telling me that the kids seem to be much, much better now, that they take the entire experience of high school, especially Catholic high school, much more seriously. There aren't a lot of troublemakers.
No, you're right about that. They're how should I put it? They deliver themselves so well.
Uh-huh.
I was really impressed with their attention span, with their confidence. I thought they did a great job at Mass today. I was impressed.
You know, we're calling this now that I realize we're just sort of rolling through the fact that Father Joe Grimaldi said Mass today to the entire class of, well, what will it be?
22, is it?
Yeah, I guess it would be. Yeah, the class of 2022. The friends that I made in high school, Joe, are still my greatest friends today. And that's why I said the importance of high school still has left such a great imprint on me. The direction that I got from going to Brother Rice High School was paramount in what I ended up doing as a career, being in broadcasting. I got so much support and direction from the people, the staff, and especially the brothers at Brother Rice High School that I'll never forget it. Any advice for the kids that may be listening at Brother Rice High School? I mean, what would you say to these guys?
I like to say what you just said in a different way, okay?
I wish you would.
Because I hear it often and often and often that the friendships that are made during those high school years, they continue. And what that does also, it causes a networking that is important for their own personal development and their own financial development and so on and so forth. So it's interesting that in so many cases, that network of friends has continued. That has not changed drastically. I think we're fortunate is that people who graduate from Brother Rice and go to college and graduate from college, so many of them do stay in the area. I think Bloomfield attracts people to remain here and form their families here and so on. So that that networking began in high school. And that's the one thing that I hear over and over again from the alumni.
I was going to say this as well. Curious that at that stage, the high school stage, that seems to be the first stage of separation from the Catholic Church in terms of attendance and the concern for the liturgy of the Catholic Church. They seem to be a little more adult in their feelings, and it's like, hey, Mom, hey, Dad, I'm not going to church this week. How does Brother Rice High School approach that element?
Well, first of all, I don't think it's ever verbalized so definitely. But
we've talked about it before.
Yes. What I'm going to say is this, that very often we have to realize the developmental aspect of the human person. So I think what happens is an independence is created, independence from family, independence from school and church, and so on and so forth. And it's interesting that when it comes time for marriage, so many of them do come back. Then they don't stay except when their first child is about to arrive. It's interesting to see so many of them come back because they want to make sure that the child is baptized in the church and things of this sort. So it's almost like different cycles. I don't know if I'm wording this correctly.
You are. You're doing a great job.
Yeah, but this is what happens very often. And then, of course, is they think they're super people, supermen, for so long. And then what happens? They're struck with an illness of some sort. Immediately, they go back to the church. Or in their old age, because now I do see some of the alumni. They're not exactly old, but they're in their 70s, and I think they begin to feel the pains of growing old. And so that brings them back to church as well.
What's the expression? No offense, and I hope I don't offend anybody, but people often say to you, boy, getting old sucks.
Yeah, no, I agree with it. I agree. So I think they go through different phases. There's a great impetus in the church right now to work with that age group between 18 and 40. That seems to be a time when people separate themselves from going to the mainline churches. They separate themselves completely. What are we doing, or what are we not doing, so that we could have them continue their worship, between those ages? Those young adults, basically young adults until they're 40, and I'm just using that number for the sake of using a number.
No, it's a good demographic to use.
But from 18 to about 40, a lot of people absent themselves. They feel they don't need God. And it must be, in my mind, I don't know, I'm not a psychologist, but I keep thinking that people are trying to flex their muscles. I'm independent.
I'm free.
I'm strong.
I'm a free bird.
Free. I can do what I want. Who needs God? They don't say that verbally, but they subtly think about it.
In high school, you do believe you're immortal.
Oh, yeah. You can do whatever you want.
Yeah.
Nothing's going to happen to me, and so on and so forth. But there are times when people start coming back. It may not last, because once the baby is born, once the baby is baptized, well, they go through that pattern again. But it does happen in different cycles.
But getting back to the high school portion of that, so many things are exploding within that 4 years. You're dating, the relationship with your parents. You're also exploring all sorts of different things. Maybe not all of them good.
No, some of them downright dangerous.
Yeah, and we've talked about the fact that alcohol, opiates, not only that, but also the fact that a lot of high school kids are challenged on social media. There's a lot going on.
A lot of pressure.
A lot of pressure going on within those kids' heads over that 4-year period. I think that the wonderful thing about Brother S High School and the Catholic high school system as it is the fact that I hope is that they continue to focus on the fact that our premise here is to literally produce great grown young men who are ready to take on these responsibilities with our help, with our direction.
Right.
And isn't that basically the point? And also, not shove it down their throats, but remind them that you're in a Christian Catholic high school.
Well, I think you brought out a very important aspect of that, is that that whenever you point the finger at somebody, the reaction is going to be doing exactly what I'm not supposed to do. So it really involves making sure that we convince them in a practical way, rather than reprimand them only and not give them solutions to work with.
So it's a new school year. It's back to school with Father Joe. Today, the Mass, the looks on their faces, like I said, I'm always so jealous of your view looking out at that audience. It's a Norman Rockwell, isn't it?
In so many ways,
yes.
Especially at Brother Rice. They're all properly dressed. They're doing all of the right things about sitting down in their right places, and they seem to be looking forward to what's ahead in the day, even though they're at Mass, and they're looking up at their teachers and things of this sort. So I was impressed with them. It was a fine-looking group. I think a beautiful-looking group, really, in so many ways.
Is it exclusive? The parents are not invited to this one, correct?
They're not, but I would say about 5 or 6 of them show up anyway, which is good.
Kind of hover around just a little bit.
Staying back. No. The worst thing is if they do that hovering around, the kids will be all embarrassed, but they stay in the background discreetly.
Well, they couldn't have picked a better person to say that first Mass of the year at Brother Rice High School. This year, 2018, the class of 2018-19, freshman class, sophomores. What did you call them? The what fools?
Oh, the sophomores?
Yeah.
Well, wise fool. Sophist is the word for wise, basically. And moros, which can you get moron from it, basically. But these are 2 Greek words that emphasize the wise fool. They think they know they think they have all the answers, but they don't.
Yeah, well, that's what junior and senior year is for.
Yeah.
Congratulations on the Mass today, my friend.
Well, all I did was preside, but congratulations, I think, to
based on what we're seeing, the follow-up to it, you did.
But the administration and the teachers, I think that's a very important.
Well, we want to wish all of the students out there going back to school, study hard, enjoy this time of your life.
Definitely.
Because
it's fleeting.
Down the road, you're going to want to look back, and you're going to say, the happiest times of my life.
Yeah.
Because that's how Joe and I got together. That's why we're making memories with you right now. And I want to thank you for joining us on the Father Joe podcast.
Happy to be here as always. Look forward to seeing you again. This is Father Joe Grimaldi, and I look forward to seeing you next time on the Father Joe podcast.
If you'd like, you can email us. It's frjoepodcast@gmail.com. That's frjoepodcast@gmail.com. We're also on Facebook. Simply search Father Joe Grimaldi. And thanks for listening, everyone.